Oh damn. Yeah, I am not cool enough to wear this lipstick. Hey guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm continuing the 5 best and 5 worst of a brand series, and we're doing Fenty Beauty. It's a full Fenty day. I'm wearing a Fenty Beat. I've got some Fenty X Savage going on here. As vaguely self-conscious as I am in this orange lipstick, today's video is all about our resident bad bitch Rihanna, so I'm just gonna convince myself that I have self-esteem. But yeah, basically, if you're new to the series, I pick a brand and I tell you guys the 5 best and the 5 worst products I've tried from that brand. Obviously, this is not sponsored by Fenty, but I would love it if it was. I just don't have enough clout for that. Full details of this look should be on Instagram already. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say without further ado. Let's get into it. Alright, starting off with the best, this is a product I already know is going to be in my 2019 favorites video because this formula has become like one of my favorite powder bronzers. The Fenty Beauty Sunstalker bronzers, please excuse how dirty that packaging is. I guess it shows you how much I love it. These came out earlier this year in a full line of really inclusive bronzers. I have the second lightest shade called Shady Biz, and this personally is one of my favorite bronzers. It doesn't look like much, but it just blends so beautifully. You can see that was a nice smooth swatch. It just kind of creates this very subtle but there warmth. Powder bronzers are a thing that seem straightforward enough but are actually pretty hard to execute. I feel like blushes are hard to mess up, but bronzers are hard to get right. It's just warm enough, but it never looks orange, and it also never looks muddy on the face. I feel like this is a product I can apply a lot of, and if I go a little bit too hard, I can always still blend it out, whereas sometimes it's over for me. So I love this, and I think the packaging is beautiful as well. It's like gorgeous, but it's also pretty sleek and compact. It's not like anything unnecessary. It feels like nice and fairly heavy, and yeah, really good bronzer. This is tied for my favorite thing that Fenty offers with the Fenty Gloss Bomb. So this is the second item in the 5 best. This is the Diamond Milk Gloss Bomb. I also have the Fussy one and the Fenty Glow. Those are actually like in my dorm room right now. So I love the Gloss Bomb formula, and I'm so excited to try the new colors that they're offering. It's just a really awesome formula, very easy to apply. It feels juicy on the lips, but it's not super sticky to a point where like if I'm talking, it feels like a cloying, just like bothersome thing on my lips. My hair does get stuck in it sometimes, but like that's pretty much any lip gloss. It's not anything that feels super gloopy or uncomfortable, and that's a problem I have with a lot of lip glosses. The original Fenty Glow one is probably my favorite of the Universal Gloss Bombs, but they're all beautiful shades. And if you're like me and kind of wary about picking up an $18 lip gloss, because at the time before I even tried these, I rarely ever wore lip gloss, this kind of converted me to a lip gloss lover. So the Gloss Bomb is without a doubt my favorite high-end lip gloss formula ever, and it's pretty much just my go-to. I wear it whenever I don't know what I want to put on my lips. I always put it on and I'm like, you know what? I look really good today. That is the power of Rihanna, honestly. Big energy. Next up in my best category, I actually don't have this product with me right now to show you guys because it's in my dorm. Just generally the products I took up to college with me are favorites. So favorite number 3 is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Lavender Setting Powder. I only use this on my under eyes, but it is my favorite setting powder for my under eyes. And it's the lavender one in particular. The color really does make a difference. I was really scared of that powder when I first tried it out, but I'd heard a lot of really great things about it. It's kind of like a white looking powder with a tiny bit of a purple tinge to it, which I was very worried was going to show up on my face as a kind of purple cast. But basically all that purpleness does is kind of help to counteract any dark spots and really just brighten the crap out of your under eyes. So if you want like bright under eyes, that powder will give you bright under eyes. I do sometimes bake with it, but I really like doing just a nice soft dusting on my under eyes. I'll take a little fluffy brush and just kind of swipe it on there, and it keeps my under eyes looking bright all day long, but also completely crease free because it is such a finely milled, very velvety smooth powder. So the Pro Filter powder I have a kind of like touch and go relationship with. I love the lavender one on my under eyes, but you will see the Pro Filter powder a little bit later on in this video. Spoilers. As for my 4th favorite from them, none other than the Sun Lip Paints. If I had to recommend one color in particular to pick up, Uncensored is just the best red to ever be created, honestly. I've never found a color this perfect. I also have the shade Uncuffed, really beautiful kind of like mid-toned pink mauve shade. These are just a really great formula of liquid lipstick, and I personally can't handle anything super drying, so normally I don't go for mattes. These are very matte, but they're also super thin. They're kind of like a paint, so they just glide on like a very thin layer, but a lot of color payoff within that thin layer. And when they dry down, they are matte, but they don't feel very tight on the lips at all. It's just a nice thin layer of very opaque color. So for that reason, I can wear these forever, and I don't experience any feathering with these. They're one of the few liquid lipsticks I don't need to use a lip liner with. And the packaging, it can be annoying to store sometimes, but I just like displaying them on my vanity because they kind of look like Christian Louboutin. We have a bunch of different shades of these now. I believe they've released like close to 10 colors at this point, and these two are my personal favorites, but I could not recommend these enough. They're $24, which I don't normally spend that much on a single lipstick, but they're 100% worth it. My final thing in the best category is the Fenty Beauty Diamond Bomb highlighter in the shade How Many Carats. I know they're coming out with a new pink one, which I had to talk myself off the ledge of buying because I know damn well I don't look good in pink highlighters, but still I love this so much. It was kind of a struggle. This is a kind of weird product that comes with a bit of a learning curve. I didn't like this one when I first applied it because it pretty much is just like pure glitter, and I wasn't really sure how to use this one without it looking chunky and weird on my face. I don't use this as a highlighter on its own. I like this as a highlighter topper. So if I have a highlighter on already, right now I'm wearing a ColourPop highlighter. If I want that glow to just be a little bit more wet looking, a little bit more blinding, I'll just take a tiny bit of this, so I have it on my finger. And just that tiny amount just takes the cheekbone to this new, like, beautiful level. This is also gorgeous as an inner corner highlighter. I feel like I gotta do the other side now just to even out so I don't have like one cheekbone that's beautiful and the other cheekbone that's like So yeah, that's how I use it. I use my hands or my fingers. You can use it with a brush if you want to, but for me I feel like that really takes away the control I like having with types of glitter particles like these, and it results in like a glittery completely cheekbone, whereas I just like to concentrate that glow in a very nice like high point on the cheekbone, so it just gets that nice like beaming, blinding glow without it being like glitter stripe on your face. One of the most unique products I have in my collection without a doubt. And as far as single highlighters go, it is a little bit more expensive than I normally spend on a single highlighter, but because I use it so sparingly, I think it's worth it. So yeah. Alright, now for the 5 worst. I actually don't really have most of these products to show you guys, just because whenever I come across something I don't really love, I tend to declutter it or pass it on to somebody who will love it. So for most of these worst of, I no longer have the product that I'm going to be talking about, so I'll just flash it on screen so you can see what I'm talking about. But number 1. Pro Filter Matte Foundation.
No.
The first foundation that Rihanna launched literally changed the game. It set the standard for what brands should be doing with their foundations. So I will always respect the Pro Filter Matte Foundation for that reason, but it looked like ass on my face. It is one of the mattest foundations I've ever tried. I think it's called a soft matte foundation. It's not really soft matte, it's just full on matte. And back when I first tried it, I had a lot more oily skin than I do have now. As my skin got drier and drier as I cleared up my acne, it just became a foundation that I could not wear on my skin anymore, because if you have any semblance of a dry patch, it's going to cling to that and emphasize it a lot. Also, it does dry down very quickly, so I would find myself having to work really fast when I was blending out my foundation, or do my face in parts. So I would like put foundation on my forehead, blend it out, and then do my cheeks, blend that out. And that's just like not what I want to do anymore, especially because it just didn't make my skin look alive. It just looked like I was wearing a very matte mask-like foundation, and that's not personally what I look for. So I actually bought the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Foundation this summer, thinking I was going to really like the more dewy hydrating version of it. And I don't really mind it, but it's not my favorite foundation, which leads me to believe that just the Pro Filter line in general for complexion is not really geared towards me, and that's why you'll see quite a bit more Pro Filter later on in this video. The matte foundation is just not good for my skin type, and that's okay because I can appreciate that it's a really good foundation for people who do have oilier skin. Foundation is a very subjective category. Everyone has different all over face skin types, so I always take it with a grain of salt whenever I hear a good or bad review of a foundation, because it definitely will work differently for me. Whereas with concealer, I feel like concealer is more of a universal thing where there's like good and bad formulas, and sometimes it is up to your skin type, but also sometimes it's the concealer. Fenty came out with a Pro Filter concealer, I think it was earlier this year, and it was not good. I love a good full coverage concealer. I heard a lot of reviews of this one comparing it to Tarte Shape Tape and saying it is a very similar texture. So I am wearing Shape Tape on my face right now. I do prefer the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, but Shape Tape is kind of a similar idea. Very full coverage. You only need a small amount to get a nice amount of coverage diffused out there. And of course with Shape Tape you do get a ton of products. So I was really excited for the Pro Filter concealer. I don't know, I could not get that concealer to work for me. I'd use like different foundations. I would use an eye cream before I put on concealer so it wouldn't look as like crepey and heavy. I used like every different powder that I had to set my under eyes. I tried like different methods of applying the concealer or baking it or setting it. And then I just had to accept the fact, you know what? This looks craggly on me. I could tell on my face like where the concealer had ended and where the foundation began. It also creased no matter what kind of powder I set it with, and if I like waited too long to set my concealer after I blended it out, it would like create these really like beautiful looking creasy wrinkles. So I did not love the Pro Filt'r concealer. I think that one is just like not a good formula, honestly. And after the initial really glowing reviews wore off, I saw a lot more reviews a lot like mine. So I feel like a lot of people really got caught up into the hype of that concealer, and I don't really see anybody using it anymore as like a holy grail concealer in their collection. It's just like something that came out. Ironically enough, the next time I'm going to talk about it, I'm actually wearing on me right now as like the focal point of this makeup look. And Mademoiselle lipsticks. These were such a fun launch to me because Rihanna came out with some really interesting fun colors that I'd never seen before. So right now I'm wearing the shade Saucy, which is a bright orange. I don't have any color like this in my collection, and I've never seen any lipsticks like this. There's like a green color that was like the color of wasabi. I also have the shade Candy Venom, which is this bright, hot, fluorescent Barbie pink that I really do like. I love the colors of these, I just don't like the formula. So this lipstick, I can really only wear this on camera because it looks very good from a distance that is far away. But if you get up close, it is pretty patchy, especially on your first application. So I think I layered this on 3 times to get this even color across. But it's just a very, very dry formula. And it's one of those like matte lipstick formula that kind of drags across your lips rather than applying smoothly and creamily. I can't wear them on their own because they just feel very tight and kind of gross on the lips. Basically the opposite of what the Stun lip paints feel like on me. So I am wearing it on top of a very like thick moisturizing lip balm right now, and it actually feels pretty comfortable like this, but also it's like not matte whatsoever anymore. So if you do want them to be like a matte color, you're gonna have to wear them without a lip balm underneath, which is just gonna feel not super great. I don't have this product anymore. It was in my collection for like this long time before I got rid of it. Fenty came out with these beautiful, colorful liquid liners at the beginning of summer. I actually watched the reviews before I went ahead and like decided to pick them up because, oh, the reviews were so bad.
You're literally the dumbest person I've ever met.
In particular, I watched Samantha Ravindell's review, and she created this beautiful look with the fluorescent blue liquid liner. So I actually found that one single on Poshmark and I decided to buy it because otherwise you'd only be able to get it in a set, and I heard the other ones in that set were just butt shit awful. It was just not a good formula for a colorful liquid liner. Granted, I haven't tried a ton of colorful liquid liners that I've really enjoyed. It's just very hard to formulate that type of thing. But I was expecting good things from the blue one because Samantha had said it was gonna be good. It dried down very matte and then started to like kind of crack and flake, so the color wasn't like a nice opaque line of blue. It just looked like a kind of crumbly mess. Plus my liner was like not super opaque either, so I did have to layer it quite a bit to get to that nice like blue wing. And then before I could even like take a picture of it, it was already just like craggly and gross, and you could see that in the picture. It was just not great. Alright, and then the final thing, kind of a catch-22 because I did mention the Pro Filt'r lavender setting powder in the best of. But the other Pro Filt'r powders that are not lavender, in particular the shade Butter, Nikki Tutorials was raving about the Pro Filt'r setting powder in the shade Butter as an all-over face powder. I hate that powder all over my face. It is so heavy looking, and maybe it's just because the Butter one is pretty much exactly my skin tone, but it has a tiny bit of coverage to it, which is not something I go for in a powder. I like to have a more translucent finish to it, so it just looks like my skin. But because the Pro Filt'r powders have a tiny bit of coverage to them, or a little bit more than I'm used to, I felt like no matter how much I dusted off of my brush, I still would get like little chunks of coverage, and it would just create this very weird looking, very uneven complexion all over. It's weird because the formula itself I thought I would really enjoy all over my face because it's a very finely milled, smooth, almost like velvety finish to it, but instead she said chunk. So those are my 5 worst, but I think by far as a whole Fenty Beauty is one of my favorite brands, and though they do have some things I don't love, they have a lot more things I do love. Alright guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please let me know which brand you'd like to see next, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed down below, and also follow me on Instagram to see makeup looks like this posted without orange lipstick usually. And if you made it to the very end of this video, you Fenty Beauties, you get the bonus meme. Love you.